As Anna and Tao navigate the digital landscape of the glam sector, they've realized the importance of netiquette in their mission to preserve and share cultural heritage. Netiquette is the key to building ethical connections while maintaining professionalism in this digital landscape. In this session, we delve deeper into the world of netiquette. In the glam sector, we will review how to adapt communication strategies based on the specific audiences in your cultural institutions. Also, accessibility requirements when communicating in digital environments so that communication is inclusive and accessible for all users. Addressing netiquette is important to understand how these rules can be customized to better suit the communication dynamics and requirements of GLAM professionals who deal with the preservation and dissemination of cultural and historical information. In the dynamic realm of the GLAM sector, it has become increasingly more important to address issues of digital accessibility to meet the diverse needs of the online visitors. The practice of web accessibility refers to a set of guidelines that are inclusive and enable all users, especially those with disabilities or other impairments, to see, comprehend, navigate, and interact with the online world. Clear and culturally sensitive communication is pivotal. Anna and Tao, following their institutional agenda, prioritize diversity, inclusion, and accessibility to ensure that everyone can engage with their digital materials. Their colleague Frederick, who is Lumina's gallery IT expert, understands the importance of accessibility requirements when communicating in digital environments and especially post-COVID, has proceeded to refurbish the institutional website to address web accessibility. Web accessibility is key to conveying the value of cultural heritage and ensure it is open to all regardless of origin and abilities. To embrace various digital formats so that the content displayed online is in multiple modes to reach their diverse audience. Creating accessible, interactive, and immersive content has proven instrumental to maintain the Lumina Gallery alive during and post-COVID and to keep online visitors coming back.
According to the World Health Organization, 15% of the world's population experiences some form of disability. That's more than 1 billion people. Add in the aging population, and you have a large number of people that may be unable to access your website or app. Not only are you limiting your digital reach, you could even be opening the doors to litigation and lawsuits. By embracing accessible design, you can deliver a highly engaging and inclusive experience to all users, including those with visual, hearing, physical, and cognitive disabilities. Accessible websites also attract more users. They're given preferential ranking by search engines. Plus, they draw more users with accessibility requirements, in many cases, establishing a new group of brand advocates. In more and more countries, regulation is requiring organizations to think about accessible design and meet global accessibility standards like WCAG 2.1. These standards cover practices relating to colors, images, video, and other areas of accessibility.
Accessibility is a shared commitment for Lumina Gallery. Frederick follows Web Content Accessibility Guidelines, which are the most widely used standards for web accessibility. When communicating in digital contexts, it is important to take into account certain accessibility needs. For example, information cannot be invisible to all senses. Users must be able to understand the information and how to operate the website. Websites and apps cannot require interaction that a user cannot perform. Content needs to be readable by assistive technologies and other user agents, such as a screen reader. People with impairments or disabilities may find it challenging to access digital content due to a number of impediments to digital accessibility. Here are some of the most common barriers. People with disabilities may find it difficult or impossible to utilize websites that are not created with accessibility in mind. For instance, individuals with color blindness may find it challenging to navigate websites that only use color to communicate information. For those with hearing or vision impairments, accessing multimedia content such as audio files, videos, and images that is not captioned or described can be challenging or impossible. Incorrectly structured documents might make it challenging for those who are visually impaired to read them. For instance, improperly marked documents may be challenging for screen readers to understand. Screen readers and speech recognition software are two examples of assistive devices that might be costly and challenging to use. Furthermore, some applications and websites might not work with assistive technologies. The significance of digital accessibility and the process of making content accessible are not widely known. This may cause the web to have insufficient content that is accessible. Following a few basic accessibility guidelines can greatly benefit those with learning disabilities, vision or hearing impairments, movement impairments, or cognitive impairments. Consider being able to listen to a text being read aloud in poor lighting, or when you are blind, or being able to read subtitles to a film in a noisy environment, or when you are unable to hear. Importantly, there is a need to consider invisible disabilities, such as those of neurodivergent people. The term neurodivergent describes people whose brain differences affect how their brain works. That means they have different strengths and challenges from people whose brains don't have those differences. To nurture neurodivergent people online, Frederick tries to work on the online version of the Lumina Gallery so that it is interactive and multimodal. The usual text-based exhibit information can be overhauled to include interactive, easy-to-read audio and visual displays. Removing timed slots can also be beneficial to neurodiverse visitors who often like to process the experience at their own pace. Language should not be a barrier to visit a gallery online. It is critical to engage in cultural sensitivity and consider the multilingual outreach of your digital offerings. Having a website in many languages expands the reach and connects with diverse communities, including minority ones. Digital material can be made accessible to all users regardless of ability by adhering to accessibility criteria such as the Web Material Accessibility Criteria. Through designing for digital accessibility of GLAM institutional offerings, we help foster a sense of belonging, inclusion, and shared ownership across all audiences. Thank you for watching and see you in the next one.